there's no one particular way that you can go to get your visa approved, right? There's no one particular way that you can show to get your visa approved. So oftentimes we see students repeating the same mistakes over and over. And today I'm going to share some of the mistakes with you that you can avoid if you are preparing for your visa interview. Then after we go into some kind of mock session. Some of the key things that you should be aware of if you are preparing for your visa interview in places like Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, or Abidjan, most of these African countries, India also, and other places like Dubai. Yeah. So we want to share some things with you that will be very helpful for you as you prepare for your visa application. Okay, good. Now, the first thing we want to talk about is say the most important thing first. That is your strongest point first. We've realized that the reason why many people are denied visa is not basically because they don't have good stories, or it's not basically because they mess up at the interview. It was because of the approach to the interview, right? Many people do not get the visas basically because they didn't present their strongest case as soon as possible. Now, when you go for the visa interview, in most cases, you have a maximum of 5 minutes. In places like Ghana, Nigeria, you have 2 minutes to present your story. And you see, it is not the fault of the consulate, because if you look behind you, you see so many people behind you coming for interview. So in a day, an average visa officer in Ghana can interview about 30 to 50 people in a day. And they work with time, they work with directions, and they make sure that everybody who have booked and appeared for interview that day must be served. So when the consular asks you, and in most cases, the first question that the consular asks you is key to getting your visa approved. So when consular asks you, why do you want to study this program? That is one of the important questions that you can get in every visa application. If you are a student, why do you want to study this program? Why did you choose this program, right? If you are not a student and you are coming for a visit, why do you want to visit the United States? And as I said, this is one of the important questions. For some people, they have good reason for coming to the United States. But as soon as they begin to speak, they reserve the good points at the later part. So most people watch our videos, and because we explain that when you talk to the consular in your first question, especially when they ask you, why do you want to study this program? We advise people to introduce themselves a little bit to the consular, but people overdo it. For example, you are working with a bank and you are coming to study an MBA, and you appear for the interview for your visa, and the consular asks you, why do you want to study this program? And your first response is, I currently work with a bank, or I want to study this program because I currently work with SNY Bank in Ghana. Over the years, this and this and this and this and this. And many people get overboard by rather giving their job description rather than switching quickly to the reason why they want to study. So what I mean is that although they have a strong reason why they want to study, they don't bring that, they don't talk about that early enough. So in most cases, the consular will cut in. Before you realize, the consular will cut in, and like the most important point that you have will be reserved, right? So the reason why I'm bringing this is that sometimes you are denied not because you did anything wrong. You are denied, or you will be denied, because you reserve the best aspect of your application, of your story, to the latter point. So it is important that as soon as the consular asks you the question, you first of all mention exactly and specifically what the reason why you are coming to study. So let me give you an example. Why do you want to study this program? So as somebody who came to study theology, right, in the United States, I can say, oh, I'm coming to study Master of Divinity at Columbia Theological Studies because Columbia Theological Seminary, because I've been involved in youth work for the past 5 years, and I've realized the lack of proper pastoral care and chaplaincy opportunity for youth who are addicted and for youth with mental health problems. I decided to study this course to focus on pastoral care and counseling so that I can provide proper pastoral care and counseling needs for people like that. In that case, I have been very specific in telling the consoler who I am, what I've been doing briefly, and explaining the challenges I have seen and also why I want to study the program. Because you want to prove to the consoler that you just did not stand up to study. You want to prove to the consoler that you just did not stand up because apply to school because people are applying to school. You want to prove to the consoler that there's a genuine reason why you apply to the school that you want to come to. There's a good reason, a compelling reason that has to do with your previous academic experience, your job experience, your community life experience, your family experience, or even personal experience. Those are things that the consolers are interested in looking out for. So in this case, you are making sure that you allow the consoler to understand who you are briefly and explain that to the consoler. So when you go for the interview, make sure that the most important point is not reserved to the latter. There are some people, they have funding and they are being sponsored by other people. But as soon as they go for the interview, they ask them, who is paying for your studies? And instead of them quickly establishing that, oh, I received this amount of funding, and you don't have to elaborate. There are some people who will be like, I received this competitive African International Student Award. All those things are adjectives that delays, that lengthen your response because the interview is really quick. You don't have time. So just go straight to the point. I received a scholarship. There's no need to describe the kind of scholarship you receive. I received a scholarship from the school that pays my tuition, and the rest will be paid by my brother who is into agriculture. Simple. Sometimes people are so strict in going into specific that before they get to their good point, they don't have any time because the consular will cut in and will not allow them to speak. So that is the first important thing you must be aware.